Welcome again to the Talking Pictures podcast with hosts Tony Toscano, CiCi Chambers, and Raquel Baldwin Horton. And welcome to the Talking Pictures podcast. I am your host, CiCi Chambers, flying solo again today. I have some very special guests for a very special topic that is close to my heart. I have with me in-house, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Demitrius.
And I also have on the phone, calling us all the way from New York, a very handsome actor who you may have seen in such things as Zoolander, Bad Company, Person of Interest, and Orange is the New Black, Mr. Shabazz Ray.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure, for sure. Shabazz and I have we've been friends for a couple years on Facebook, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
And he doesn't really comment a lot on my posts because, you know, anybody who knows me knows that I walk that fine line between entertainer and comic and balance of crudeness and living in Utah. So not everybody comments.
No, it happens.
So Shabazz is an actor, and Demitrius is an actor too, and has been acting in several large projects here in Utah and elsewhere. What are some of the things you've been in?
Recently, I would say the most recent things I can think of was Monolith. That was an Italian production. They filmed over here, and then it was a full Italian production team from Italy, and they went down there. They did post-production, they did editing. As soon as they were done, they screened it at Cannes. So that was a nice information when they hit me up about that. Also, I did. Most recent one after that was Small Town Crime. So that was with John Hawk. That was with Octavia Spencer and Anthony Anderson. So that was a fun one.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, that one filmed here too. Yeah,
that was a great one.
Yeah, I got a couple calls from that to be in it, but I was just like, yeah, I can't. I'm busy.
Oh, yeah.
So my topic tonight, one of the things I want to talk about that is near and dear to my heart, and a lot of my productions that I produce and I'm working on currently is black film and interracial films and mixed ethnicities films where everyone is included and it's not so mainstream. I have a mixed background myself. When I'm dating someone, it's usually not parchment. So it's something that is near and dear to my heart. And to me, the struggles of black film is also parallel to the struggles of women in film.
Yeah,
the same rights and the same pay and everything else. Right. The same, thought of equality and as ability as directors, producers, moneymakers. That one of the topics I want to cover, I want to talk about directors that have been influential in films that were turning points and influential. But I do want to start maybe, because I know there's some films that go way back, but have you noticed the difference between black actors that are produced and directed by white directors, the success of those films, and the voice of those films, versus films told by black producers and black directors and black actors? Have you noticed a difference in that?
I can step in and go first. Well, sometimes it's considerable, the difference, and then sometimes they do good, but most of the times when the films do good, of course, they have, bigger budgets, more money, and then, of course, they're going to do good because you have more backing. Maybe it's a studio opposed to an independent, and that's even that today, when they say independent, it's not like it used to be. Like in the old days, when we said independent, that meant that it was a group of people who didn't have much money. Now it's independent, but it's millions of dollars. And they have backing from someone, even if it's independent. So in terms of noticing the differences, it can be, like I said, considerable if if they have the backing, but if you don't have the backing, it's not going to be as considerable,
Right.
And a film could be really, really good, but if you don't have that backing or the following, not as many people are going to find out about your film, so hence not as many people are going to see your film.
Right. Like one of the things that I've noticed, like if you remember back in 1972, Rosewood. Have you got? Oh, and Trevor Clegg has joined us. He's also a local actor. Say hi.
How we doing?
Trevor we've been friends for a while, and he's been acting for a long time. Rosewood was directed by Martin Ritt, who is a white director. And comparatively, if you think about Sidney Poitier in Raisin in the Sun, that was directed by Daniel Petrie, who is also a white director. I've noticed like those films tell a black story from a white perspective, as opposed to let's say like Django Unchained, which has a little more black perspective, even though it was Quentin Tarantino, and The Color Purple, or even Spike Lee's productions. Can you give me a name or a name for the voice of the difference? Do you see what I'm saying? There's a different tone, a different, like in writing, we call it an omniscience. Even with black actors, how would you explain the difference? Do you think it's intentional that it's told so differently, or do you think it's just a perspective that you can't learn?
I'll be honest, I don't even think it's really about the perspective so much as, and I say this again, who's behind the project. Because when it comes to perspective, if, the person may be, I prefer saying Caucasian opposed to white myself, but person could be Caucasian that's telling the story, but it's based on how they put the story together and where did they get the story from. For instance, like if you did Ray and you actually spoke to Ray Charles and, you did all your research with Ray Charles, he told you about everything he did and showed you a lot of memorabilia and, told you all these stories, then the story is the story. And it's not necessarily a white perspective, but more so is this coming from the group who did it. Like I said, I think the biggest thing is who's backing it, the following, because it's also in the name. Like if somebody says Steven Spielberg, people want to see this film because it says Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
It could be a smaller person, and they could be white too, but they're not going to want to see it as much as Steven Spielberg because it's Steven Spielberg, and we know Steven Spielberg does great films.
Well, that brings in. Let me break in for just a second. That brings in a really good point, though, because what's it? Red Tails, with you know who I'm talking about.
You're talking about Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Cuba Gooding Jr. Yeah. Okay. So Red Tails was executive produced by George Lucas, whose wife is black, and the director is black. And the reviews that I saw on that movie, now it had great financial backing. It was very polished. The post-editing and things like that was very polished, which is something that I've seen just now catching up with black film, is that unless it has tons of money, either the talent or the money isn't there to actually like get the editing smooth. Like Tyler Perry has had a huge problem with editing, and I love me some Tyler Perry, but his editing drives me freaking nuts, and his continuity. But in Red Tails, people, mainly Caucasian people, were giving the worst reviews of that film, saying that Caucasians in the movie were considered, bad people, and not all of them were. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies. But you're talking about perspective and who's producing it. I think George Lucas said, tell your story the way you think these people saw it. And they went and talked to people to get a view of these people before they wrote the play. So I'm sorry, Shabazz, go on.
Okay, so I saw Red Tails. Actually, I thought Red Tails was a good movie. And I know the director, Anthony Hemingway.
Right.
And just because somebody's personal opinion is whatever it is, it doesn't mean the movie is good or it doesn't mean the movie is bad. But I feel when it comes to that, if it's the kind of movie that you want to see, you got to check it out for yourself. I never, ever go by reviews. And people who are saying that people are a certain way in a movie, it's a movie. That's how they're supposed to be in the movie. That's why it's a movie. And The other thing is, during the times, that's how it was. They treated people bad.
Right.
And that's just what it is. It's not the reality of what's happening now, although it happens some places. It's just for that time being when you're in the theater for an hour and a half or 2 hours or however long the movie it is, it's a movie, and that's what the characters are supposed to have. If they're bad characters, they're bad characters. It doesn't matter what the complexion of their skin are. That's like kind of, ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with him on the fact, like I said, the limited experience that I've had, that names attached to a film or a project has a strong connotation of what's going to happen with the film. Like he was saying, like with Steven Spielberg, if he makes a film, then automatically just like that, people are going to go watch it. But I believe that it also has to do with perception as well. And the reason that I say that is because you can have, of course, a black writer for a film, but if you have white producers and then white directors, they're going to tell it in a way that makes them and I guess their demographics feel more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And so when you have two different films, so say if the story is focused like around slavery, or if it's focused around the oppression of black people, I feel like that if you have like a black director and you have a black writer, I feel like they can tell it in a way towards, okay, this is what happened to us, and then they don't sugarcoat it. And then sometimes I can understand that Caucasians wouldn't feel completely comfortable because, wait a minute, we're not getting any type of good perspective on our people. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we don't have anybody that's trying to help them, that's trying to save them. Like I'm sure there's at least one person. But if you get a black person telling a story, there might not be. And then I feel like that makes them seem or feel in a way towards like, okay, they're saying that our people is bad. Versus if you get like someone that is white, that's the director, is like, okay, you know what, we got to at least have one white person help save the day. You know what I mean? We got to have one white person to be a part of this, because I feel like once you end up adding at least one white person, it completely covers it across the board towards like, okay, they don't start to think like that anymore.
It's your token white person.
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah, it sounds funny, but in a sense, I feel like they need that token white person to be able to sell the movie and for them not to think that way anymore. They call it white savior syndrome in a sense, to where it's like, okay, we got to have at least one white person that's helping save the day.
But see, I don't think you should be that way in every movie, because you don't need white people to save your ass. It's just, to me, I'm just like, that's one of the stereotypes that needs to be broken. Yeah. You don't need a white person to save your ass. Yes, it's good to bridge that gap, but you should be able to say, hey, I can save my own ass. I don't need you.
And I agree, because kind of like 12 Years a Slave. I mean, you have him, and then you have Brad Pitt. I mean, which is, don't get me wrong, I'm glad he was in the movie. I'm glad he played that part. But
look, even like Free State of Jones.
Yeah, and then you have that, and then of course it's backed up by certain like historical stories, which are based on fact. But I was like, or can brothers and sisters get out of that situation without getting help from white people? And then I'm not finding a film where they can, and that's what bothers me.
See, yeah, exactly. You don't need that, and I mean, it's kind of like the film that I'm writing. That you don't need. You can have conflict and be friends, black and white together, or Portuguese or Indian or whatever, but you don't have to have one save the other because they're lighter. Because you both have shit that you're going through. Oscar Michaud, he was the first black director in 1919, and he did The Homesteader. How far, I mean, we're bridging a huge gap here, okay, from then to now. He actually started his own studio. Tyler Perry was the first to own his own production company and studio outright. Like, Michelle, basically had to lease, equipment and stuff to get started. Right. Or Tyler Perry, just I'm going to buy this. But we all know Tyler's story. He started poor and had one play and went from there. Can you name 5 influential black male actors that have helped break barriers for a black film in the last century?
Say Samuel L. Jackson, Lawrence Fishburne.
We're all nodding.
That's true.
What happened?
I said we're all nodding. Our heads are rattling.
Okay, so that's my first 2. Then Joe Morton.
Oh, I read about him today. I can't remember what he did though.
Yeah, Joe Morton. He's in. He did. The Terminator. He's in the Terminator 2. He did a show called Eureka.
Oh, yeah. He looks like one of my ex-boyfriends.
Okay. Yeah, well, Joe Morton is a phenomenal actor. I could say Denzel Washington. You know who else for me would be Sidney Poitier?
That man be fine. He broke through a lot of doors, and he got a lot of crap for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which was like, but I think he did some very brave things, and so did Gone with the Wind, Hattie McDaniel.
Oh, yeah, Hattie McDaniel, yes.
Right, but Sidney, he actually won for Lilies of the Field in 1963.
But there's one more. I know you said 5, but I got to name one more actor. Harry Lennox is a phenomenal actor too. I got to say Harry Lennox.
What was he in? Name me something.
Harry Lennox was in The Matrix. Harry Lennox, he's on
Dread hair, that guy.
He's bald, right?
Yeah. He's on a TV show right now. He was in Man of Steel, but he's also in what's that show that's on now?
Did he play the captain or whoever the commander?
Yeah, he was the commander in Man of Steel, but he's on a TV show right now too. The TV show is The Blacklist. He's also on The Blacklist.
Oh yeah, okay. After we go through, you guys name your 5. If they're the same as Shabazz's, just name a couple more, and then I want to compare them to actors now and the difference. I call them the younger generation, even though they're late 30s to late 40s.
I'd have to say some of my favorites. So is Michael B. Jordan as a new upcomer. Yeah.
I know you're not used to having big black things in your face, but
no, Will Smith always was my favorite. I used to love Martin Lawrence too, though. Samuel Jackson. I mean, I love the guy. He's in everything. And Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne.
For me, I feel like if more currently, since I'm only like 27, so I'm kind of like along the new generation. Idris Elba, yeah, I feel like he's playing like very diverse roles, and I like to see black actors being able to
Idris
do that.
is one of those guys that I would be like, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Jamie Foxx. I feel like Jamie Foxx is a very underrated actor. Jamie Foxx can do some crazy things and some amazing things when it comes to taking on a character, but I feel like he's a very underrated actor. After I saw Ray, I was like, he needs to do more things, and he needs to get like more.
He needs to stretch.
Yeah. He needs to get more opportunities,
Right. Bring out that bass and get some deep.
Right. Of course, Denzel. That's a bad man, Denzel. Billy D. Williams. Billy D.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like I said, that was a smooth dude too. Like especially like during the 70s.
You double-crossed us.
Yeah.
Han, you just don't understand.
Yeah.
I got a whole city to protect.
Right, exactly.
I had him. I was so young at that time. I was like, "Isn't that Michael Jackson?" That's how stupid I was. Oh man. So, how do you think? Okay, you mentioned Jamie Lee Foxx. How do you think these compare to actors now that have already had? They're making their own, like the Wayans brothers. Okay, very talented. Started in comedy. Started doing production for themselves because people weren't taking them seriously, and they're kind of like, peace out. I'm gonna do what I want. Compared to like Key and Peele, who are like on the fringe now and taking total advantage of that. Do you think the climate? I mean, there's so many genres. We've got crime. We've got romantic comedy. We've got drama. We've got everything. Actors today, like Stephen James or Jamie Foxx, the Wayans brothers. Eddie Murphy's kind of in that middle kind of thing, where he just kind of swings wherever he wants to go. It took him a while to get good as an actor. I think people just casted him because he was funny. If you notice him in all of his movies, he didn't really act so much as he stood and talked. Cuba, I think, is good. Nate Parker. But how do you think that these guys, how do you think they compare to the old ones? Do you think they're as good? Do you think they're just riding on coattails? Do you think they're breaking more barriers? Do you think they're fine-tuning what's going on?
Okay, well, I answered. I mean, because the guys that are in my generation, I don't know about the cats you got there right there, but the guys that are in my generation, like Idris Elba, yeah, the guy is a phenomenal actor. So, yeah, he is, breaking boundaries. I feel he is doing a phenomenal job. I mean, even Smith. Will Smith has come a long way. I remember seeing him on The Fresh Prince, and it was just The Fresh Prince. It wasn't like, serious acting or anything, but nobody really cared so much back then.
Oh, I think Will Smith, Fresh Prince, I know it was a silly show when it first started out, but it kind of stood out where shows before it, like Bill Cosby's The Cosby Show, was in and of itself. He was the first guy to headline his own sitcom that was across borders and across races and just was loved by everyone. Even though you had the Jeffersons before that, it was still primarily the Jeffersons. Like, my favorite shows growing up, I watched Different Strokes. I watched...
Good times.
Yeah, Good Times. Right. You know, Martin was okay, Different World, Different Strokes. All of those were the ones that that's what I loved, 227. And I was the kid that always watched those. Fresh Prince was that show that kind of took actors from the black media family and said, hey, guess what, yo? We're middle class and we're here. Hi. You know, we're just like you. We like neon. We've got this dorky kid that can dance or can't dance. We've got, you know, the strong dad. I love that Will has come so far. Anything that's in his personal life is his. I don't care. I love that he has done so much in so many areas and brought people up with him, but he does it quietly. You ever notice that? Like, the people he like promotes and like gets into things, it's quiet. It's not like, yo, I'm making this movie and other than his son. It's all pretty quiet who he helps, and I really love that because he's become a powerhouse. What'd you guys think of 42?
What, Chadwick Boseman?
The movie, Jackie.
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen that. I know.
I've got it.
I gotta watch that. I heard great things about it.
And I gotta admit, I haven't seen it yet either.
Oh, okay.
Shabazz, I got popcorn, man. I got a spare bed. You're welcome to come. We can have movie night. What about Race? Did you see Race?
I know.
Am I the only... This is why black movies in Utah only stay here a week, because I'm the only one that goes.
No, it's true. We got to get on that. The one I did see was, with Chadwick Boseman, was Get On Up, when he was James Brown. And
Get On Up!
Yeah, he murdered that part. I feel like he has, like, many souls stuck in his body or something like that. The way he can take on and embody characters, it's insane.
It's kind of like my crush on David Aiello.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so before we get to ladies, what's the most recent black film that you've seen?
Okay, let me see. What's the most... Oh, well, I would have to say TV show for me, and that's The Get Down. If you guys haven't seen it, there's a brand new TV show on Netflix called The Get Down. If you guys haven't seen it, there's a brand new show on Netflix called The Get Down, and it is phenomenal. It's about the 80s and hip-hop and, you know, by people like Kool Herc and Grandmaster Flash. Like, these are the pioneers of hip-hop, and I've been acting for... close to 20 years, and just seeing this, I was like, next season, I gotta be on this show. So check out The Get Down.
All right.
Brand new on Netflix.
Okay, so ladies in black film, name me some heroines. Not heroines.
Heroines. One of my favorites is Viola Davis, and for her, like I said, I love her work. I love the intensity that she puts in. I love that she goes the route that she can to, I'm not saying perfect the craft, but pretty much perfect the craft.
Wasn't she just in Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
Wasn't it her?
Yeah, that was her.
Now, I didn't like her character in that.
In Suicide Squad?
Yeah, I didn't think she was at her best in that. Give me another one.
Halle Berry.
Well, that's easy.
I know, right? Yeah.
I mean, come on. The woman's hot. I mean...
Yeah, Halle Berry's fine, but she can act, though. Yeah, she can act.
Monsters Ball, she got an Oscar for that one.
I don't know. I feel like she did very well in Monster Ball, but I wouldn't say that was something that she should get an Oscar for. I feel like I've seen other films.
Catwoman?
She did very well. Very well Catwoman. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of surprised me, but
he's just now catching up to that.
Yeah, it kind of surprised me that she got an Oscar.
Give me a couple, Trev. I think you like Mrs. Cosby.
I can get down with that. Get down with Cosby. So I love Queen Latifah. I think Queen Latifah is powerful. I think she's motivational for people, and she definitely cares about the community as well as gives back to as well.
And I love her because number one, she's got her own production company. Number two, she does not use skinny ass bitches in her movies. Mm-hmm. She uses real women, and as we all know, I got some curves, I got booty, I got testicles, and Taraji
P. Henson.
Let him think it's a baby.
I'm trying to think of somebody. So give me a minute.
Do I need to go pull out my DVD collection so you can think of some names? All right, well, Shabazz, give me some. Save this.
I got a bunch, but I'm going to try to break it down to just a few of these awesome women right here. Now, I like Ruby Dee. I think Ruby Dee is a phenomenal actress. She's not with us anymore, but I'm going to say Ruby Dee is a very, very powerful actress. And I'm going to say this name. You guys might not even know who this lady is, but Kim Staunton. If you guys ever seen Changing Lanes with Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Affleck, Kim Staunton is a phenomenal actress. Regina King.
Yeah.
That's good.
Is a phenomenal actress. I mean, she's phenomenal. Viola Davis. You guys already said that, but I'm going to reiterate on that. Angela Bassett.
Oh, yeah.
You took mine. She's my goddess. I love her.
Hey, you told me to name them, so I'm laying it down.
All right.
I'm going to take Angela as my number 4.
And I'll just name one more.
And who?
Just one more. Sanaa Lathan is a great actress, too. I love her work, too.
You are
Okay, so I'll stop right there. I'll stop.
You can keep going. You can keep going. I'm not hating on any of this. Angela Bassett.
I know, but I want some other people to have some names. If I say all the names, then nobody else won't have any.
Well, I do. I forget her name, but she played Mahogany.
Okay.
Who was it? It's like on the tip of my
Diana
tongue.
Ross?
Yes, and I love. I kept seeing her hair. I don't know why the rest of it wasn't coming. And then I love Angela Bassett. And Oprah has come a long way acting.
Oh, yes. I love Oprah, too. Oprah is phenomenal. I think Oprah is phenomenal.
Taraji. Now, if you've watched her career, she's always been a great actress, but she is really, like, moving it. And you're going to laugh your butt off, but... which movie was it? It was she had a chicken mask on. She's like, you're the one who said to act like a chicken, buck. And I nearly peed my pants in the theater because I was like, that is so not her, but it is her in real life. So it just that made me laugh. That made me like take the respect level up like tenfold because I'm like, you had to reach for that and not like die on screen.
That was too funny.
Because it's so easy for her to play the tough bitch.
Right.
So for her to do that, I was like, oh girl.
I think you're talking about Last Night.
Yes, about last night. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That's one of my. That made me just laugh and laugh and laugh. Oh my gosh, we're having such a great conversation here. But I want to skip to superheroes.
Join us next week for part 2 of this interesting conversation with Shabazz Ray, Trevor Clegg, and Demitrius Daniels.
A movie podcast should have more than just rolling on about the recent movies. It should also have stories, background, maybe hosted by an Emmy Award-winning movie critic. We have that on the Talking Pictures podcast. The Talking Pictures podcast is produced by Talking Pictures Productions. Executive producer, Tony Toscano. Produced by CiCi Chambers. Find us at www.talkingpictures.tv. Talking Pictures podcast distributed by Geek Factor Radio. Also on SoundCloud, Libsyn, and iTunes. Music and sound effects provided by bensound.com.